to make that argument, you would really have to think that, all of us are trying to force our boys to be boys, and to engage in only male stereotypical things, and girls are girls and only can engage in female stereotypical things, which none of us are doing. Hello, welcome to my channel, Outspoken Samantha. If you are new here, welcome. Hit that subscribe button. If you're returning, welcome back. Thank you for the support. On my channel, I like to give my opinion and perspective on things that are happening today, things that I think actually matter to everyday people, especially those of us that are trying to raise kids in the insanity known as today's society. I would go into my whole intro, but today's just going to be a short video. So please just like, comment, and share. Subscribe to my channel. Help me to grow my channel and hopefully reach more people that value logic, reason, and sanity. That being said, let's get into today's topic. I wanted to just talk a little bit about some of the things I've been seeing in regards to an event that Matt Walsh was holding at a university over the last few days. I don't remember exactly what day it was on, but it was recently, within the last couple of days. As we know, if you've been paying attention to Matt Walsh, he did the whole documentary on what is a woman, going around trying to ask people to define this term, what it means, when people want to say that they are a woman, everywhere from just everyday people to pediatricians to psychologists, trying to get people to actually define this term. He has been very outspoken about, his views on gender ideology. He wrote the book, Johnny the Walrus, I believe that's what it's called. And, he recently exposed some of the things that were going on at a gender clinic called Vanderbilt, in which, there was some admission there that a lot of their promotion of gender surgeries had to do with the monetary gain, being financially beneficial to the clinic versus, actually wanting to do it based on a need from kids and actually wanting to help and support kids. So there was some shady business going on there. So there was an event going on at this university regarding something to do with this gender topic. And there were a lot of counter protesters to his event. And I was watching some of the, the reporters going through the counter protesters, just trying to even get them to talk to them. And as Lauren Chen made the argument, there was a lot of people there wanting to scream their views. But when you actually wanted to get up and ask them questions about it and really just, talk, have a conversation, they were really resistant to that, not actually wanting to have a conversation, which is really, really interesting and honestly really sad in a lot of ways. We need to be able to have a conversation, and if you are so firm in your values and your position on a particular topic, you should welcome conversation. You should be ready and willing to defend it with facts and data and with just supporting evidence and with conviction and saying this is really why I believe what I believe. But so to be resistant to that kind of really counters the argument that that you really do believe what you're saying if you really can't sit down and have a conversation about it. So so I thought that was really interesting. But some of the points being made from the counter protesters just really astonish me, just are so bewildering, because I have yet to see an argument in favor of gender ideology in general, this gender identity and transgender, transition, all of these things that are happening that really have any basis or merit to them that goes, really into scientific evidence. Sorry, I'm stumbling over my words a little bit this morning, but, one of the things that I heard was, this lady saying, I want parents to be, in an ideal world, I want parents to be supportive of their kids' gender journey, of their identity journey. And I thought that was an interesting argument, because Lauren was asking, do you think laws should be passed like the ones in California, saying that, if a kid wants to, get hormones or surgery or anything like that, if their parents aren't supportive of it, then they can get permission to do it anyway and override the parental rights or parental involvement in that decision. So basically abolishing parental rights. And she was asking, do you think that we need this? Because the event was in Tennessee, and the person was saying, in an ideal world, parents would be supportive of their kids. And I thought that was a really interesting argument, but also just kind of goes with what I'm saying. Like, I haven't seen anything that's really substantive as far as, science and data. It's that they want parents to be supportive of their kids' identity journey, which I have to say is not an argument that anybody on the side of the aisle against, gender transition as far as hormones and puberty blockers and surgery is making. We're not saying that kids can't explore their identity. So it's really this argument against something, again, that nobody is saying, that nobody is making the case for. And it really seems to be based on this idea that people that are, against gender ideology are telling all kids that they were born in the wrong body, or that they can be anything that they want to be, that we're all forcing our kids into some kind of binary gender role. To make that argument, you would really have to think that, all of us are trying to force our boys to be boys, and to engage in only male stereotypical things, and girls are girls and only can engage in female stereotypical things, which none of us are doing. I have 2 boys and a girl. I would love my boys to love sports. I would love them to be involved in sports. I don't care if they're really good at it, more just for the activity and just learning sportsmanship and, things like that. And we just moved to Texas. I'm just like, it'd be nice if you guys were involved in, or at least liked football. But they don't. They really have never had an interest in those things. They're very rambunctious. They have a lot more energy than my daughter does. They're a lot more loud and physical than my daughter is. And it's not because I forced them to be that way. It's just naturally who they are. And I noticed, that from the beginning. And I'm not saying that if you have a girl that she can't be rambunctious and loud like a boy, or that anybody that has a rambunctious and loud girl is trying to force her to be, quiet and meek and, just more of that female stereotype. So you really have to, like I said, have the belief system that we're all trying to force our kids to be a certain way, to adhere to certain stereotypes, and we're not. Nobody is doing that. All of us are allowing our kids to explore their identity, to be who they want to be, whether they're more artistic or more, more into sports, or they're more into music, or they like to write, or they like math, or they like to build things, or they like to tear down things. And so, all of us are in favor. That's a point that we agree on, that all kids should be allowed to explore their identity. So it's this idea that, we're all forcing our kids to be the same. That really is a false statement, and it is a false basis to want to make laws for. So the part that we're disagreeing on is the fact that gender identity, or that gender journey or identity journey, needs to involve permanent things like drugs and hormones and surgery. That is the part that we disagree on. We don't disagree that kids need to, be able to explore who they are, because every kid has different talents. Every kid has different interests. Every kid expresses themselves in a different way. And we're all in favor of that. It's this point where you want to start introducing things that permanently alter their body. They can't understand what that means. That permanently remove things from their body. They have no idea what that means, or what that commitment entails, or how that would impact their relationships or their interactions or their life for the rest of their life. And there's no kid that is going to understand the impact of that at a young age. And that is where the disconnect is. And that is the thing that parents are advocating for, is to say, hey, we want kids to explore our identity, but introducing drugs and surgery and things that are permanent, that needs to wait until they are old enough to understand the scope of it, because nobody wants to have a kid that makes a decision at a young age and then decides when they're older that that's not really what they wanted, and then they can't reverse it, because that is devastating, to have to live with something that so easily could have been prevented, that did not need to happen. And I don't understand how that's so impossible to see, to completely neglect the side of it that says there's a really good chance that if they make this decision at a young age, that they're going to regret it when they're older, or that they're going to wonder why the people that, oversaw their growth and development didn't guide them to, make, exploring their identity in a less permanent way. And I saw a lot of people saying, that they want to have these laws that basically abolish parental rights. There was another gal saying that, she's out there battling misinformation. And it's really interesting, because I don't think that there is a lot of misinformation, because we've all kind of gone from the basis that kids are kids. Kids have a very young and naive approach to life. Their world is very small. Their experience is very limited. They're not mature. And that is a basis that we're all going off of, and that we all should be going off of. And it's kind of made me reflect a little bit as I've been out in public and just kind of looking at the world in a different way. I went to an event that my son was having. He's in band. He plays the trombone. And they had this little concert, and I found myself, when we all went to watch, and there was a bunch of parents there, men, women, whatever, and I just found myself looking at the audience and saying, there's a bunch of women in this room, And we all express ourselves differently. I saw a woman wearing like, grungy jeans and a tie-dye shirt and a ponytail. I saw another woman walk in and she's wearing like, stiletto heels, and she's got like, you can tell she's had like lip fillers and, eyelash extensions, and she's, dressed up, and, two very opposite ends of the spectrum. I find myself kind of in the middle somewhere. It kind of depends on the day. I like to be more comfortable. Sometimes I like to dress up. There's not one of us in the room that has the same interests, that expresses ourselves in the same way, that are attracted to the same people, that are attracted to people in the same way, that are attracted to men in the same way, and probably women in the same way. So it's just, I find a lot of these gender arguments that are just based on so much of a false foundation that, you have to be able to adopt this LGBTQIA or this transgender or this gender ideology in order to explore your identity accurately or fully, which is just not true. And what happens, if we do leave kids to their own devices and let them explore their identity without influence, without outside influence, without books and parades, and without teachers telling them like that you have to adopt some kind of alphabet letter from the LGBTQIA community to explore your identity, without any of that, that kids will grow into the identity that they want to be, that they will express themselves in the way that they wanted to be. And there's a really good chance that as they get to be an adult, they're going to be more comfortable in their own skin. They're going to realize that they can be a woman that wants to wear jeans, that they can be a woman that wants to play baseball, that they can be a woman that wants to be an engineer, that they can be a male that wants to be a dance teacher, or they can be a male that wants to be an art teacher, or whatever it is, that they don't have to permanently alter their body or their psychology or or their name or their pronouns or any of that to express themselves in a way that makes them feel comfortable, that they have to protest for, or to be angry about, or to get in the faces of other people for. One more argument that I see a lot is this whole idea of circumcision being equal to gender surgery, which is insane to me, completely insane. It is not the same to remove a tiny piece of skin off the head of a penis when a baby is a baby as removing that penis entirely, or removing a body part entirely, or removing your breasts permanently. Like, that's not even remotely close to the same thing. There is no boy that's gonna say that having that removed from their genitalia as a baby impacted how they feel as a boy, impacted their interests, impacted their identity throughout their life. There's no boy that's going to say that. If you didn't even tell them that they were circumcised, they would have absolutely no idea. So it's ridiculous to make that comparison and do it. Circumcision is not the same as removing things entirely and then having to live with the repercussions of that for the rest of their life. So please stop making that argument. Again, we're all for kids exploring their identity in whatever way is healthy, but not to make permanent decisions as a kid, because kids are not capable of doing that, and kids are not old enough to consent to things. They are only old enough to be influenced into things. If an adult tells them that they trust that this is what they need to do to explore their identity, they're going to believe them, because kids don't believe you're going to lead them down a path that could be harmful to them. If you tell them that unicorns are real, or that Santa Claus is real, they're going to believe you, because kids are going to believe the people that they trust, and they're not going to believe that you're going to tell them something that's harmful. As they get to be teens and, a little bit older, they're insecure about their bodies. No kid wants to feel insecure about their bodies. And especially as an insecure teenager, teenagers will do anything to feel better about themselves. They will do anything to fit in. They will do anything to feel more secure about who they are, or sometimes to be a completely different person because they don't feel good enough as they are. And that is extremely manipulative, to tell them that if you just completely change your name or your pronouns, or have, hormones or surgery or whatever it is, that you're going to feel better about yourself. You're not addressing the root issue. You're not helping them boost their confidence, because if they are a female that's insecure about their body, they're going to be a male that's insecure about their body. If they're a female that doesn't have confidence, or is going through, experiencing anxiety or depression, they're going to be a male that is experiencing anxiety and depression. You need to address the root cause of why they feel the way that they feel, and then discover what the solution is. And we are seeing far too often that teens are being pushed into doing all of these big changes, and being told that this is going to solve all their problems, and find out that they have all the same problems, just as a different identity, which is not solving them at all. So I just wanted to address some of these things. I thought they were really just silly arguments, and just again, making arguments against things that none of us are saying. None of us are saying that people cannot explore their identity. Nobody is trying to force people to be, to fit into certain stereotypes, and to, portray their identity in a specific way. Like, as you walk around outside in public, I mean, nobody expresses themselves exactly the same way. And as an adult, you come to find out that you don't have to, that you can express yourself in a way that makes you feel comfortable. And as an adult, when you make those decisions, then you understand the long-term implications of it. You understand how that applies to your relationships and how it applies to every aspect of your life. As a kid, there's no way to know that. Let me know your thoughts. I wanted this to be a quick video, but I know I was kind of rambling a little bit, but let me know your thoughts, leave a comment below, and I will talk to you later.